Let's get straight to the point. Number 5, the social media scroll addiction. You wake up, and before your eyes are fully open, your hand is already reaching for your phone like a zombie hunting brains. You tell yourself you're just checking notifications, but 3 hours later, you're watching a stranger renovate their bathroom in Slovakia. Congratulations, you just donated your morning to the algorithm gods. Here's the nightmare your brain is living through. Every time you scroll and see something mildly interesting, your brain releases a tiny hit of dopamine. It's the same chemical slot machines exploit. Your brain starts craving that next little spike, so you keep scrolling, hunting for the next hit. This constant dopamine drip rewires your reward system. You're training your brain to need frequent, shallow stimulation instead of deep, meaningful engagement. Studies show heavy social media users have reduced gray matter in the regions responsible for decision-making and emotional regulation. You're literally shrinking the parts of your brain that make you a functional adult. Plus, the constant context switching between posts, videos, and comments fragments your attention span. You're teaching your brain that nothing deserves more than 8 seconds of focus. You're not relaxing, you're turning your prefrontal cortex into mush one reel at a time. Number 4, skipping breakfast and starving your brain. You roll out of bed, skip breakfast because you're late or doing some trendy intermittent fasting you read about in a clickbait article, and you think you're fine running on fumes and caffeine. Spoiler alert, your brain is screaming at you. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's total energy, despite being only 2% of your body weight. It's an energy-hungry monster, and when you skip breakfast, you're basically telling it to run a marathon on an empty tank. Without glucose, your brain cells can't produce the ATP they need to function. Your concentration crashes, your memory gets foggy, and your decision-making skills drop to the level of a sleep-deprived toddler. But here's where it gets worse. When your brain is starved for glucose, it starts breaking down muscle tissue to create energy through a process called gluconeogenesis. You're cannibalizing your own body just to keep the lights on upstairs. Chronic breakfast skipping is linked to increased cortisol levels, which damages your hippocampus over time. You're stress bombing your memory center every single morning. That brain fog you feel at 11 a.m., that's not laziness, that's your neurons gasping for fuel while you sip your third black coffee pretending you're fine. Number 3, living in a constant stress tornado. You're late for work, your inbox has 847 unread emails, your phone is buzzing like an angry hornet, and you haven't had a moment of actual calm in 6 months. You think stress is just part of being an adult, like taxes or pretending to enjoy small talk, but your brain is literally dissolving under the pressure. When you're stressed, your body floods with cortisol. In short bursts, cortisol is fine, even helpful. But chronic stress means chronic cortisol, and that's when things get ugly. High cortisol levels physically shrink your hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for learning and memory. You're not just stressed, you're actively eroding your ability to remember things or learn new information. Even worse, chronic stress kills neurons in your prefrontal cortex, the decision-making center. This is why stressed people make terrible choices, like eating an entire pizza at midnight or sending that angry email they'll regret in 4 minutes. Stress also disrupts neurogenesis, your brain's ability to grow new cells. You're supposed to be generating fresh neurons throughout your life, but stress puts that factory on permanent lockdown. You think you're just handling pressure, but you're actually running a demolition crew through your own brain tissue. Take a breath. Seriously, your neurons are begging you. Number 2, sitting like a gargoyle for 12 hours straight. You sit down at your desk at 8 a.m. and don't stand up until your bladder threatens to explode at 3 p.m. You think you're being productive, grinding through tasks like some kind of work machine, but sitting for extended periods is doing horrifying things to your brain. When you sit motionless for hours, your blood flow slows down. Less blood to the brain means less oxygen and fewer nutrients reaching your neurons. Your brain cells start suffocating in slow motion. Studies show that prolonged sitting is linked to thinning in the medial temporal lobe, the region critical for forming new memories. You're literally thinning out your memory center just by parking yourself in a chair. But it gets worse. Lack of movement reduces the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. This protein is like fertilizer for your brain, helping neurons grow and form new connections. Without it, your brain's ability to learn and adapt shrivels up. Sitting all day also spikes inflammation throughout your body, including your brain. You're marinating your neurons in inflammatory chemicals that accelerate cognitive decline. Standing up and moving for just 5 minutes every hour can reverse this damage, but you're too busy being a productivity statue to bother. Number 1, breathing dirty air like it's no big deal. You live in a city, commute through traffic, and spend your day in poorly ventilated offices breathing recycled air that's been filtered through someone else's lunch breath. You think air quality is something hippies worry about, but your brain is drowning in pollution. Air pollution contains fine particulate matter called PM 2.5, tiny particles so small they cross the blood-brain barrier and lodge directly in your brain tissue. These particles trigger inflammation and oxidative stress, damaging neurons and accelerating cognitive decline. You're literally inhaling brain damage every time you walk outside. Traffic exhaust, industrial emissions, even indoor pollutants from cleaning products and air fresheners, they all contribute. Your brain is a sponge soaking up environmental toxins while you pretend everything is fine because you can't see the particles. Long-term exposure shrinks the white matter in your brain, disrupting communication between different regions. You're cutting the phone lines between your neurons just by breathing. If this video made you realize you're accidentally lobetizing yourself, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs a wake-up call. Subscribe to Freakonomia because clearly you need someone to tell you the uncomfortable truth. Drop a comment with which habit you're guilty of. Until next time, stand up, drink water, and maybe crack a window.